Now the question number 11. Consider the following statements A and B. Identify the correct choice in the given statements. Statement A. The refractive index of the extraordinary ray depends on the angle of incidence in double refraction. B. The vibrations of light waves require one-sidedness for both ordinary and extraordinary ray in the double refraction. So options A, B, C, D are given. Which option is suitable for this choice? That is, first of all, what is meant by the double refraction? Double refraction is nothing but light passing through the calcite crystal is split into two rays, is called as double refraction. So the two rays polarized by calcite and plane of polarization mutually perpendicular. So that means whenever the light ray passing to the calcite material, it gives two rays. One is ordinary, another one is extraordinary rays. So here the calcite crystal forms the double refraction. So option A, the refractive index of the extraordinary ray depends on angle of incidence in double refraction. Yes, this is correct. And the vibrations of light waves require one-sidedness for both ordinary and extraordinary rays in double refraction. This is also correct. So first of all, we should know what is the difference between ordinary rays and extraordinary rays. Ordinary rays obeys laws of refraction and depends on Snell's law and refractive index. But extraordinary rays, in that refractive index varies with the angle of incidence and it is not fixed. So that's why it is not obeys the Ohm's law. So that means ordinary rays and extraordinary rays. So in the option A given, that A is given, the refractive index of the extraordinary ray depends on angle of incidence in double refraction. That is correct. And the vibrations for ordinary rays, those are perpendicular, and extraordinary rays, the vibrations are not perpendicular, but the vibrations of light waves require one-sidedness for both ordinary and extraordinary rays in double refraction is correct. So A and B are correct. So the option is B. Now the question number 12. A thin magnetic iron rod of length 30 centimeters is suspended from in a uniform magnetic field. Its time period of oscillation is 4 seconds. It is broken into 3 equal parts. The time period in seconds of oscillation of one part when suspended in the same magnetic field. So first of all, I will take the time period. T is equal to 2 pi times square root over I divided by capital M into H. Then magnetic moment M is equal to small m into 2L. Then moment of inertia, that means here I is equal to M into L square divided by 12. Then what happens here? Magnet breaks into 3 equal pieces. Then what happens to the magnetic induction, that is magnetic moment, small m into 2 into length is L by 3. So that's why capital M by 3. Then afterwards moment of inertia, that is I dash is equal to M into L by 3 whole square divided by 12 is equal to 1 by 9 M L square divided by 12 is equal to I divided by 9. Now the new time period T dash is equal to 2 pi times square root over I dash divided by M dash into H. Now substitution. 2 pi times square root over I dash is nothing but I by 3, I by 9, and M dash is nothing but M by 3 into H. So here square root over 3 by 9 comes outside. 2 pi square root over I by M into H. 3 by 9 means 3 3s are 9. So that means 1 by root 3 into 2 pi times square root over I by M into H. Now here 1 by root 3, this is T dash, but this one what happens here? T. So here new time period is 1 by root 3 times t. So what is the option here? A is the option. Now the question number 13. Consider the following two statements A and B and identify the correct choice in the given answers. A. Paramagnetism is explained by domain theory, and B. Susceptibility of a diamagnetic substance is independent of temperature. So one thing remember here, paramagnetism is explained by domain theory is wrong. Why? Because domain theory explains only the ferromagnetism. So that means this option is wrong. And B, susceptibility of a diamagnetic substance is independent of temperature. This is correct. Why? Because this susceptibility is small and negative. So that's why this option is correct. That means A is wrong and B is correct. So option D is correct. So now the question number 14. A body of mass 1 gram and carries a charge 10 to the power of minus 8 coulombs passes from 2 points P and Q. P and Q are at the electric potential 600 volts and 0 volts respectively. The velocity of the body at Q is 20 centimeters per second. Its velocity in meters per second is at P is how much? So first of all, this is the point P and it is the point Q. Here the potential is 600 volts. Here the potential is 0 volt. So there is a mass that is 10 grams, that is 10 to the power of minus 3 kilograms traveling from P to Q. Traveling from P to Q with the charge 10 to the power of minus 8 coulombs traveling from P to Q. At this particular point, the velocity of the particle is 20 centimeters per second. That is nothing but 20 into minus 2 meters per second. But which one we want to calculate? Velocity of body at Q is given, its velocity in meters per second at P. So that means V initial is required. So to calculate V initial, charge is moving from P to Q. So that means some amount of work should be done. So that means work done is equal to change in kinetic energy. What is this one? According to work energy theorem, work done is equal to change in kinetic energy. But here work done is nothing but what is that here? W is equal to delta KE. Now here which type of work done here? Electric work. So that's why QV is equal to half M into V final minus V initial, that is square. But here Q means how much? 600 into 10 to the power of minus 8. 600 is nothing but volt and charge is nothing but 10 to the power of minus 8 is equal to half into M is nothing but 10 to the power of minus 3. V final, that is 20 into 10 to the power of minus 2 whole square minus V initial whole square. So that means here 20 whole square is nothing but 400 into 10 to the power of minus 4 minus V initial square is equal to 600 into 10 to the power of minus 8 into 2, this division, into 10 to the divided by 10 to the power of minus 3. So that means what happens here? V initial square is equal to 400 into 10 to the power of minus 4 minus 2 into 600, 1200 into 10 to the power of minus 5. Here plus minus 3 plus 3 means. So here is equal to 400 into 10 to the power of minus 4, 120 into 10 to the power of minus 4. 400 minus 120, we are getting 280 into 10 to the power of minus 4 is equal to 0.028 meters per second. So here V initial square, but here V initial is equal to square root over 0.028 meters per second. So what is the option here? A. Now the question number 15. A parallel plate capacitor of capacity 100 microfarads is charged by a battery at 50 volts. The battery remains connected and the plates of the capacitor are separated, so that the distance between them becomes double the original distance. The additional energy given by the battery to the capacitor in joules is how much? So here, now in this question, what is given here? First of all, the capacitance, that is C is equal to, that is 100 microfarads when it is connected with voltage is equal to 50 volts. The battery remains connected, its plates of the capacitor are separated, so that the distance between them becomes doubled. So actually the capacitance for parallel plate capacitor, C is equal to epsilon naught A by D. So that means D is the separation between plates. Then what happens here? D becomes double. That means D becomes double means the new capacitance is equal to initial capacitance by 2. That is nothing but 100 by 2 is nothing but 50 microfarads. But which one we want to calculate? Additional energy given is required. So that means additional energy is nothing but E1 minus E2. So E1 minus E2 is nothing but half C V square minus half C dash V square. So in this half V square common, C minus C dash. So here half into, here 50 is there, no? That is V, that is 50 volts whole square. C means what is that here? 100 microfarads is nothing but 10 to the power of minus 6 minus 50 into 10 to the power of minus 6. So 1 by 2 into 2500. 100 minus 50 is nothing but 50 into 10 to the power of minus 6. So 25 into 5 divided by 2 into 10 to the power of 3, here minus 6, is equal to 125 divided by 2 into 10 to the power of minus 3, that is joules. That is amount of additional energy. So which option is correct here? Option A is correct. Now the question number 16. The time in seconds required to produce a potential difference of 20 volts across a capacitor of 1000 microfarads when it is charged at the steady rate of 200 microcoulomb per second is how much? So first of all, it is the potential difference at 20 volts across the capacitor. So first of all, I will take this one as capacitor, parallel plate capacitor. So in this case, but we know that charge Q is equal to C into V. But one thing remember, time in seconds required to produce a potential difference of 20 volts. So time required. So initially, whenever we are taking the time t is equal to 0, potential is 0. Whenever the time taken is t, where the potential we will get, that is 20 volts. So that means t, at what time we will get the 20 volts potential. So that means dq by dq equal to cv means differentiate on both sides. Differentiate on both sides, that is dq divided by dt is equal to c into dv by dt. Already we know this dq by dt. How much given? 20 microcoulomb by second. That is 200 microcoulomb per second. So that means 200 microns. 200 micro is equal to c into dv divided by dt. So on multiplication here, c into dv is equal to 200 micro into dt. Now integrate on both sides. integrate on both sides. So that means C integral d means what is that here, 0 to 20 dV is equal to 200 micro into dt, that is from 0 to t. So here C means what is that here, 1000 microfarads. Here dV is nothing but what is that here, that is 20 volts, is equal to 200 micro into this is t. Both sides, these two micro cancel. T is equal to 1000 into 20 divided by 200. 10 10 10 10 2 gets cancelled. Time is equal to 100 seconds. This is the solution for question number 16. So what is the option here? Bombay. Now the question number 17. The balancing length of a cell is 560 centimeters in a potentiometer experiment. When an external resistance of 10 ohms is connected in parallel to cell, the balancing length changes 60 centimeters. The internal resistance of the cell in ohms is how much? So first of all, in potentiometer, initially length is equal to 560 centimeters. Here R is equal to 10 ohms connected in parallel. Length changed from 560 centimeters minus 60 is equal to 500 centimeters. So here which one we want to calculate here? Internal resistance. So R is equal to L1 minus L2 divided by L2 into capital R. So that means 560 minus 500 divided by 500 into 10. Here 60 divided by 50, that is 500, 10 and here 10, 6 by 5 is equal to 1.2 ohms. So which option is correct here? C. In number 19, a uniform conductor of resistance R is cut into 20 equal pieces. Half of them are joined in series and remaining half of them are connected in parallel. If the two combinations are joined in series, the effective resistance of all the pieces is how much? So first of all, we will take the resistance is equal to R. So that means R cut into 20 equal pieces. 20 equal pieces. That means resistance of each part is equal to R by 20. So first, half of resistances connected in series. So that means resistance connected in series. Half means how much here? 20 parts means half part is nothing but 10 into R by 20. That is R by 2 ohms. 0 0 cancel. Next, remaining half of resistances connected in parallel. So that means 1 by Rp is equal to remaining half means 10 into 1 divided by R by 20. This is nothing but 200 divided by R ohms. But 200 divided, but here 1 by Rp. So that means resistance in parallel is equal to R by 200 ohms. Then what happens here? Both are connected in series combination. So that's why R effective is equal to Rs plus Rp. So Rs is nothing but R by 2, Rp is nothing but R by 200. So here LCM 200, 100 R plus R is equal to 101 R divided by 200 ohms. So what is the option here? 101 by 200. Option C is correct. Now the question number 20. The cold junction of thermocouple is at 0 degrees centigrade. The thermo EMF produced in thermocouple is given by the equation E is equal to 16T minus 0.04 T square, where T is the temperature of inversion and neutral temperature of thermocouple are how much? So first of all, we will calculate like this. So first of all, which one is given here? Thermo EMF equation, that is E is equal to 16T minus 0.04 T square. But here at inversion temperature, that is Ti, E is equal to 0. So that means E is equal to 0 is equal to Ti minus 0.04 Ti square. 0.04 Ti square is equal to 16 Ti. So Ti cancel. Only Ti is equal to 16 divided by 0.04. So Ti is equal to 16 by 0.04 is nothing but 400 degrees centigrade. This is temperature inversion. Ti is equal to 400 degrees centigrade. But which one we want to calculate? Neutral temperature. So that means here neutral temperature, that is Tn is equal to inversion temperature plus temperature at cold junction divided by 2, that is 400. Temperature at cold junction is 0 divided by 2 is equal to 200 degrees centigrade. Which option is correct here? 400 and 200. Option B is correct.